Iran should very soon develop a nuclear weapon. Otherwise, it doesn't have the chance to even survive. Now, you can argue about it, but my argument here is, of course, I would refer some previous incidences that took place during the Second World War, and that will make you clear why I'm telling you that Iran should very soon develop a nuclear weapon. It doesn't stand a chance. Why? Is because we know that United States is a superpower, so as Israel, and these are the countries that Iran is fighting against at this moment. I mean, of course, we know that this is an unjust war. They just went there and then started bombing Iran. But now the fact is, of course, Iran came out as stronger. That they hit back, and they were able to retaliate. But how long Iran can sustain, it is a question. Now I will give you an example here is that during the Second World War, and of course we know that at that point of time it was Germany that was an imperial power, and it was taking over a country one after another. So yeah, at that period of time, I can't remember the exact year. I think it was in the year 1938 or 39. This is when Germany just somehow developed or created a pretext to capture Czechoslovakia. At that point, there was a country named Czechoslovakia. Of course, it was broken then afterwards, and then there was two countries, Czech Republic and Slovenia, and etc. But anyway, the fact is, at that point of time, Germany wanted to capture Czechoslovakia. So what it did is that it made a pretext. And the pretext was, of course, in Czechoslovakia, there was a region where, a few numbers of German-speaking people were living in Czech Republic, and they made a pretext is that those people were not getting proper rights, in a way that they did not have autonomy and etc. So Germany demanded to Czechoslovakia is that they should develop that region in a way that that region is autonomous, and they should have proper human rights and etc. But remember here one thing is that at that point of time, Czechoslovakia was already quite developed, and it was practicing human rights in a very good manner because it was a very developed country at that point of time. So in the beginning, of course, Czechoslovakia did not want to accept Germany's demand. But then, of course, you can understand the pressure that Germany was giving it because it was a superpower, an imperial power at that point of time. So what happened is that Czechoslovakia accepted Germany's terms. But then immediately when Czechoslovakia accepted Germany's terms, Germans came up with another 3 or 4 or even 7 demands. And those demands were quite impossible for the Czechoslovakia to accept. So that's how imperial power works. So, you know what, as soon as they gave those additional demand, so Czechoslovakia could not accept those because it was impossible for them to accept. And then, of course, this is how Germany outlasted Czechoslovakia. And you see, this is how imperial power works. They will always come up with some demands. It doesn't matter how you accept their demands. So now what we are seeing at this moment, or experiencing in real time, is that United States is demanding Iran to give up their nuclear program, to give up their ballistic missile program as well, and to open the Strait of Hormuz. These are their demands, and they want to make a deal based on these terms. But now the fact is, let's assume that tomorrow Iran comes up and says that, okay, we are going to accept all of your demands. We'll give up our nuclear programs and ballistic programs and everything. Now, what would happen, that the United States will immediately come up with some other demands. They will probably say that, no. So please just, hand over your political leaders, or like they can just make any kind of pretext. Now, why would they say it? Because all what they need is to wage a war. They want to capture that country. They want to take all these natural resources that these very big countries have. In this case, of course, Iran has. So they want to just exploit those natural resources. That's the very classical way of seeing how the imperial power works. So even if Iran accepts all the terms of United States, it's not going to work out. They will either capture the country, they will wage a war, capture the country, or they will somehow change the regime, and they will there will be a puppet regime that works for United States so they can exploit their natural resources. This is exactly how it works. So in my opinion, if Iran does not develop a deterrent, it means that they will have the restraint in a way that the United States will not, or any other power will not attack Iran again. They, I think, need a nuclear weapon because that will be a real deterrent for them to save their country and to save their natural resources from any other imperial power. Remember, it's not only the United States that is acting like this. All other previous imperial power, they work exactly the same way. So I believe is that the only one way that Iran can survive. Because let's say that there is a deal, somehow they made a deal, and then of course the war stopped. Now we are hearing that there will be a 60 days ceasefire, and then it can be extended later on. There can be a permanent war, but I don't really think that it's going to happen this way. At some point, United States is going to attack Iran because they want their natural resources. So Iran, but if I were in Iran position, if I were to advise Iran, I would rather say that develop the nuclear weapon so you can survive. Otherwise, you don't stand a chance. My dear audience, please put your comments. What do you think about it? And make sure that you like my channel so I can grow. And please do subscribe. Thank you.